Good afternoon, Coach. We'll get started here with Dave and then
Good
Jamie.
afternoon. All right.
Hey, Doug. Good afternoon. Do you have any injury updates on a few guys? I have a list here: Rodney McLeod, Avonte Maddox, Darius Slay, Malik Jackson, Josh Sweat.
Josh Sweat is going to be okay. He got chipped by the running back in the game on his right side, right arm area. He's going to be okay for the game. Darius Slay is going to be in the concussion protocol, so no further. Obviously, can't comment on that other than he's in the the protocol. Rodney McLeod. I can say he's going to miss the rest of the season. Torn ACL. Showed up on exam again this morning. Unfortunate with him that he's going to miss the remainder of this season. And Avonte Maddox will also miss some time here in the next couple of weeks. And everybody's frozen.
We good? You back, Coach?
Yep. We okay? You guys hear me?
Go ahead.
Good. Everything got frozen there for a second.
There you are. Hi, Coach. Are you back?
Yeah. Did you guys get the first question answer?
The injuries we got, I think. I was asking you if now that you've watched the film, do you have any better idea as to who will start on Sunday?
Yeah, after going through the film and really looking back even to last week and the preparation and everything, I'm gonna continue with Jalen this week as the starter.
Can I follow up on that real quick? Yesterday during your press conference, it sounded like you chose your words a little carefully when it came to either praising Jalen and I was wondering, did you weigh, Carson's feelings on that? Or was it also part of it, you don't want to put too much pressure on this kid who just went out and performed for you going down the road?
Yeah, I was thinking of a lot of things. Quite honestly, I was thinking of Carson, but I was thinking about the rest of the team and how the rest of the team played, in the game. And Jalen did, after looking at the film again today, I mean, Jalen played well. I mean, he was a big part of, the success we had on offense and obviously helping us win that football game. But there were a lot of other great individual performances on both sides of the ball, right? I think of Miles Sanders. I think of Josh Sweat and Javon Hargrave, and Fletcher Cox had a big game, big sack. We had 2 defensive takeaways in the game. So there were a lot of positives coming out of the football game, and I just didn't want to say, hey, it was all about one guy, because you guys know me and my answers, and I've always been about the team, and really that was a team win yesterday.
We'll go to Zach Berman and then Jeff McLean.
Hey, Doug. Sorry, I just had to get this up here. You're now 11-2 with starting your backup quarterback, excluding that 2017 Week 17 game. Why do you think you've had so much success without your starting quarterback? And do you think as a play caller, you call a better game for the backup?
Zach, I think it's a great question, and it's something I have thought about that. I think about not just our team, but I think about other teams in the National Football League who play a backup quarterback, right? And the success that those teams have. I think about New Orleans. Think about the opponent we just played with Taysom Hill. I think they're now 3-1 with Taysom Hill as a starter this year, and go back when Teddy Bridgewater played a couple years ago. I think he was 5-0 with New Orleans, and you can pick out a lot of different teams that have had backup quarterbacks with success, and there's just not necessarily a lot of film out there on these guys. I think as play callers, as you put plans together, maybe you keep things a touch smaller, you keep the verbiage down a little bit, maybe you pull back or pull plays that you've used earlier in the season, time on task, all kinds of things kind of play into that, and then of course you got to take the backup quarterback himself. He's getting an opportunity to play, tends to play well, and you always see what's going to happen the next time out, right? So it's hard to pinpoint, but I think you can put you can kind of point a finger at a couple of things.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Jeff, and then Kristen.
And Doug, if I could follow up on that, though, you mentioned the Saints and how Sean Payton was able to have success with Bridgewater and Taysom, but he had great success previously with Drew Brees. So conversely, your record with Carson is just a little over 500. So is it fair to question whether the chemistry between you and Carson isn't what it is when you have a backup as your quarterback?
No, and listen, Carson and I, our relationship's great. I mean, we've had great communication, and I just look at this year and the amount of the adversity that we've been faced and played with all season, and trying to make things work. But there's no issue with Carson and I. I look at maybe what I do or how I call the game. Maybe I can approach it a little bit differently, moving forward that way. But that's something that I haven't. Listen, teams have a lot of film on your starter. They have ways to prepare for your starter, and they can take away certain things, and we've got to be able to compensate for that. But there's been no issue between us.
Go ahead, Kristen, and then Tim.
Hey, Doug, to that point, talking with some of the guys yesterday, they said they felt like the flow of the game was different. Did you feel the same way? And then how do you build off of that with Hurts now as a starting quarterback for the second straight week?
Yeah, I felt like the flow was different, and that obviously started with me as the play caller. And one of the things that we try to go into every game and try to keep a defense off balance. And I felt yesterday, each week, sometimes on Monday, I sit up here and I go, hey, we got to do better on first down. We got to stay ahead of the chains. Yesterday, we were able to do that, whether it was 1st and 10 into a 2nd and 8, 2nd and 7, or even a 2nd and 10. We didn't have many second long situations. Now, we got ourselves into trouble on third down with some penalties, but we were able to stay ahead of the chains. And so when you do that, it becomes a little bit I even hate to say the word easier, but the rhythm and the flow of the game, you can keep a defense off balance and have a little more rhythm. And I credit the offensive line yesterday for really blocking and doing a great job against a defensive front that is probably one of the best ones we've seen all year. And then being able to the off schedule plays that Jalen had in the ball game really kind of kept the defense off balance, and that's what you try to do each week, and then try to pick your spots on on some shot plays.
Tim, and then Les.
With the play calling looking a bit different between the quarterbacks with Carson and the backups, how much of that is you having handed the keys to Carson in a sense? I mean, you've talked about how he's gained responsibility over the offense as the years have gone on. I mean, how much of it is that it's kind of built in his likeness, or he's got more control of what's happening?
You know, that's one of the things that I really appreciate about Carson is I want him to have control. I want him to have the ability to get us in and out of bad plays, or plays that aren't conducive to what we're seeing defensively on that snap. And we've given him that freedom. He's that type of quarterback that can do that, and at the same time, we've had success doing that because he can do that. He can get us out of some plays. But and so yesterday our mindset going into the game was, just Jalen, just run the offense, right? We didn't give him a lot of freedom in this game. We just wanted him to go out, first start in the National Football League, just go play. And much like Carson, his first start in the National Football League, just go play. And then you continue to grow and build and take what we've the successes we had in the game yesterday and try to build upon that this week. But that's one of the things with Carson that I've appreciated with him is just how smart he is to be able to fix protection, fix plays, get us in in better plays and out of bad ones.
Is it possible that you've given him too much freedom?
I don't think so. I mean, I think we have to be careful with the amount of. I think that goes with any quarterback around the league. I just don't think it's with Carson, but I think it's any starter that you as play callers and play designers, that you give these guys too much on their plate, and you got to be careful there. There is a fine line.
Les and then Ruben.
Hi, Doug. It looked like the Saints really did make some adjustments in the second half and kind of shut the offense down a little bit, except for the drive after the Josh Sweat strip sack. How different does it have to be next week? I mean, you talked about teams not having film. Obviously, the Cardinals are going to see this. Are you going to be able to get 100 yards rushing out of Jalen next week? And what has to be different going forward for the offense to continue to succeed with them?
Well, the second half of the game yesterday was probably more about us, kind of shooting ourselves in the foot. Failed to execute, really that opening drive of the second half when we had an opportunity there to stay on the field. It really wasn't about what New Orleans did, and then just being able to capitalize. It's called it. We have to sustain. And do I want to run Jalen Hurts 18 times? I mean, you don't want to run your quarterback 18 times, right? Not in this league, because you see the amount of hits that he took. And do I want Miles Sanders to do what he did? Yeah, I would rather give those rushing attempts to him and Boston and Corey and the guys, and use Jalen and the quarterbacks when we have to. But we're gonna each week's a little bit different from a game plan standpoint, and those are things that we as coaches look at today and tomorrow and put a plan together and practice and go play. But you never know how a game's going to unfold either. I have a plan in my head that I want to approach the game a certain way, and when it works out, it's great, and when it doesn't, you gotta find something else to do, right? You gotta find another set of plays and try to make some things work. So, we'll see how it goes this week, but hopefully we can build on what we did yesterday.
Thank you,
Ruben, and then Bo.
Hey, Doug, getting back to the secondary and the injuries, is there any chance at all that Cravon or Craig James would be available to you? I know you haven't even opened their practice window. And also Grayland Arnold and Michael Jacquet were out for the week. Do you anticipate getting them back? And just, how serious is this whole secondary situation?
Yeah, I'm hopeful that Michael and Grayland, their injuries are a little less than LeBlanc's and Craig James that you had mentioned. So I'm hopeful and optimistic that those two guys can make a return. We'll see how the week goes, obviously, and we got a couple days here before we hit the practice field, but I'm optimistic that those two guys will be able to at least get out there on Wednesday and begin their practice in preparation for Arizona.
Oh, and then Chris Franklin.
Doug, how much of the no sacks was a result of Jalen's ability to make plays with his legs, and how much was the offensive line, and I guess who stood out on the offensive line?
Yeah, one of the things that Jalen did well when he was out of the pocket and there was nowhere to run or nowhere to throw is that he threw the ball away, right? And that just helps your offensive line. It doesn't put you in a bad situation. It doesn't put you in a second long situation or a third long situation. And I think looking at the offensive line, I mean, really across the board, they all played extremely well. It wasn't perfect. I think Jack Driscoll played extremely tough and physical against a really, really good defensive end. And then Mulata did a nice job on the left side. Got beat a couple times, but overall, showed some promise there and showed improvement there. I thought Isaac and Kelsey and really, Herbig in the interior part really did a nice job, not only in the run game, but also in pass protection. This was a very active, stunting defensive linebacker, pick games, all kinds of things up front. And I thought for the most part, they did a really good job, blocking this front. And then Jalen being able to step up in the pocket, obviously elude the rush a couple times and extend plays with his legs. So that's all part of pass protection, and the guys did a good job.
Chris and then Nick.
Hey Doug, Rodney was one of the vocal leaders on this team. How will you be able to replace that, and who are some guys do you feel that could step up and fill that void?
I've challenged the team every week that everybody on the team can be a leader, right? I mean, he doesn't need to necessarily be the most veteran player. Anybody can lead. But yeah, you're right. Rodney was a big vocal leader on this team. I would expect guys like Jalen Mills, to step up. I would think guys like, Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham, guys like Vinny Curry on defense, guys are really going to, even Darius Slay, guys, really would rally around that and step up and bring some of these young guys along, just like on offense with guys like, with Kelsey and even Alshon Jeffrey with the young receivers and Miles Sanders. I mean, these guys are, great leaders in their own right. And I would expect the majority of those guys to really step up now in the next, these next 3 weeks and, pull everybody together.
Nick and then Rob.
Hi, Doug. You mentioned the young offensive linemen. Where do you see guys like, Malott, I mean, obviously he's played both sides, but a guy like Nate Herbig, is he a kind of guy that you can maybe look at and he could step in for Kelsey, when Kelsey finally decides to walk away? Or is he more of a guard?
We've cross-trained him at both positions at guard and center, and he can play both, right guard and left guard, which is very valuable for us. I think his best position is probably guard, being able to be a swing guard, play left and right. But if we ever got in a pinch, and I mean we're getting in a pinch, I guess, with the amount of offensive linemen we have, that he could step in and play some center. He's done that before, and could probably do that if we needed to.
We have time for a couple more, so we'll wrap it up with Rob and then Daniel.
Hey, Doug, when we talk about the team's record with backup quarterbacks, and much of the conversation is, well, Doug must be calling a game differently, or Carson must not be doing something. But how much of it is the team itself stepping up, rallying around a backup quarterback, and maybe executing a little bit better because they know it's on them to do that for their backup? The franchise guy's not out there.
Rob, I think that's a big part of it as well. I think everybody rallies around, and like you said, I see guys sort of step their game up, right, when a backup comes in, and because it just they have to do their job even better. It's one of the things I did last week was just kind of challenge everybody on offense to do, and coaches included too, to and this is something we've struggled with all season, but be able to coach a little bit better, execute a little bit better in practice, and really do the little things, right? Do the little things to help the backup quarterback, and if they do their job, then it makes the backup quarterback just have to do his job and just distribute the ball and get us in and out of the right plays. And so yeah, I agree with the fact that everybody around the backup quarterback has to pick up their game and support, because you can't do it yourself.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Hey, Doug. Last night, 8 of your 11 starters on offense were 25 or younger, and you had a bunch of guys who are 23 or younger. Beyond just energy, what have you seen those younger guys, bring to this team at some of those important positions, like the offensive line?
Well, I mean, it's exciting to have, the amount of young players that are playing and getting valuable time, whether it's offense, defense, or on special teams. It's just going to go to help your the support of the long-term, roster makeup, I guess. And having these young guys out there, it is a a little more energetic. They bring a little more tempo, upbeat mentality, attitude, and it's sort of it's kind of refreshing in a way, because they don't know what they don't know yet, right? I mean, they're new to the league, and they want to play and they want to do well, and they just enjoy having fun, and they really haven't learned what the NFL is all about, and that comes with time. But I love seeing these guys out there and rallying around each other, supporting each other, having fun with one another, and we saw it in the game yesterday, and it was kind of good to get back to that emotion, of winning and feeling what it's like to win, and sustain a lead and hang on to a lead, and finish the football game and against a good opponent. And that's what you saw out of the young guys yesterday.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.